This video is going to be off the cuff, and I will most likely be going against what most parents or probably anyone in your life has advised you. So that being said, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alan Derrod. I'm a full-time football agent and the founder of Australia's #1 player agency, Elite Football. I've helped hundreds of players with player representation, and we currently have a roster of over 25 professional clubs in Europe, UAE, and South America that we work with. Last month alone, we signed 4 players to professional clubs. Throughout my journey of working as a football agent, I'm constantly in communication with players, and throughout the years, there's been certain points and topics that the majority will bring up, which is what they struggle with or what they're thinking about when they're trying to go pro. And I've jotted a few down so we can get through it in this video, and as well I've added a few stuff that I struggled with when I was a player in my day as well. And I guess this is just advice I wish I heard when I was 15. The first point I want to touch on is balance. I hear a lot of players tell me that they want to live a balanced life of football and, you know, being able to do other stuff or live a normal life. And I guess that while it sounds tough, balance just doesn't exist in the world of football. I would actually go further and say that for anyone wanting to achieve something big, balance is a myth. So you can't be great at more than maybe 2 or 3 things in this lifetime. There's just not enough time. You can be good at a lot of things, and I know a lot of people that are good at a lot of things. But to give you an example, some of you might have friends that maybe are good at tennis and soccer and basketball and rugby, like they're just natural athletes that are good at a lot of different sports. But I can almost guarantee you that those same people are not great at any of them. Because if you truly want to be great at something, you have to dedicate so much time to it that it doesn't allow for the balance of being able to play 5 sports. Now this is like common sense, but I think it goes under people's radar. I'll use myself as an example, not even in football terms, in business terms. A few years ago, I was working in finance. I was running a different social media channel. I was doing Elite Football at the time as well, and I also had this other company. I was doing decent, making a bit of money everywhere, and all companies were growing, but they were growing decent. It was okay. It was slow. And that was because my time was split up into these 3 different ventures. And it wasn't until I realized this a couple of years ago where you can be good at a lot of different things, but you can only be great at a few. And in business specifically, that might mean to focus 15, 20 years on one company before you move on. A lot of people get stuck on trying to diversify and doing a lot of things at once, but really you just become good and you're never great. And sometimes it's easier to grow a company to 10 million than it is to grow 3 to 1. And so it wasn't until I dropped everything and only focused on Elite Football that we really started to pick up and grow, right? It's the same for football. If you're worried about balance, if you're wanting to work a 9 to 5 and also pursue your football career, and also you want to play tennis on the weekends, and also you want to see your girlfriend and go out to dinners, and also you want to play Fortnite with the boys, you're never going to be great. You need to focus on what it is that you want to be great at. And unfortunately, football is not a game that you can be good and go far. So balance is definitely something that I think players need to eliminate from their minds if they want to make it. The other point that I want to go through is backup plans. A lot of players talk to me about their backup plans, and I've touched on this in other videos, but I think the idea of a backup plan in my mind now is honestly just a mental paradox. Because how can you possibly give your best effort to something and essentially give yourself a fighting chance if you're not all in? If your mind is split up to playing football, but at the same time I'm also going to be doing this uni degree, you're always going to allow your mind to just sit in the middle. Because you know that if you don't make it, you can go and take that uni degree, whatever it is. Be it a lawyer, be an accountant, an architect, a tradie, whatever it is. If your mind's focused on knowing that you have that backup plan, you can never truly go for that main vision, that main goal that you want. And parents are probably gonna hate me for this take, but the reality is that if you want the life of many, you have to sacrifice a lot. And when it comes down to backup plans, I think it's a sad way to live your life by almost feeding the sense of defeat in your mind that, oh, I probably won't make it because it's hard to make it. So you know what, just in case, let's also do this on the side. Because you're never going to give 100% to that thing because you have to give so much time to do that backup. I hate that because I would have never achieved anything I've done in my life if I had those backup plans. And I've been the victim. I've gone through it. When the later stages of my football career, when I was 19, 20, I felt the pressure from my parents parents to go and study and do something. And I tried it for about 6 months. I went to uni and I dropped out because I think I realized how easy it was. You know, when you go and you struggle for a few years trying to do football, and then you go and walk into a classroom at uni and you sort of realize how easy it is to get the grades and do the work, and okay, I just have to do this for a couple of years to get a piece of paper. You realize that you don't want to be like the people that are in that room. And that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going that road, because that might be your road. But if you're wanting to be a footballer, it's probably not. And you can do football till you're 25. Go for it. Go for your life. Just run it. Don't get stuck in the feeling that you have something by a certain age, that you have to have a degree, that you have to be set up because your friends are going to uni and in 3 years they're going to have their degree and you're going to be still pursuing football potentially to no result. Because it's funny how life works out. And I'm 25 now, and I remember feeling that way when I was 16. I graduated high school when I was 16 and I pursued football for about 4 years. And I remember feeling like, oh, everyone's ahead of me. Everyone is going to uni and they're about to get their degrees in a couple of years. And I don't know what's going to happen with this football thing, right? And if nothing happens, then I'm going to have to go back to uni and I'm going to be so far behind. The funniest thing about that is that 50% of people that went to uni straight out of high school dropped out. Nothing happened with their lives. The 40% of people that I know that went to uni, especially talking about the friends that I had at that time, I think about 80% of them changed degrees. They did 2 or 3 years in something and then they jumped to something else because they realized they didn't like it anyways. So when I stopped doing football and I learned everything that I learned that football had to give me when I was about 20, and I came back, people were just starting again, uni, people were just starting over. And now flash forward another 5 years, I'm 25 now, I still have friends that are at uni finishing a degree because they jumped so many times different degrees. They've been at uni for the last 8 years. What I'm trying to say with this is that you can't see the bigger picture when you're 16, 15, 17, 18. Like, you don't see that because it hasn't happened in your reality. Your reality is just swayed. It doesn't exist, is what I'm trying to say. And when people have backup plans, almost a sense of insecurity that you're not going to get plan A. And I'm just trying to tell you that you can always fall back on something, and there is no point in not focusing 100% of your attention into something. Because I promise you that even if you go through 100% and you fail because you give up, because it doesn't work out for you, you can come back and focus 100% on the next thing and you'll get it, and you'll probably get it before anyone else. Because when you look at people, most people don't focus 100% on anything. People are trying to do so many different things at once, and it goes back to what I was telling you about my businesses. It's easy to get stuck into looking at all these different options, at all these different access that you have and all these different pathways and whatnot. And I don't think life is about that. It's just about picking a few things and being great and ignoring the rest. Because if you don't, you're going to pick 100 different things, 5 different sports, and you're going to be good. But no one remembers good, and I don't think there's much happiness in good. Don't worry about happiness. I don't think there's much achievement in just being good. Another thing that occurs is that, especially with my younger players, you always sort of focus on not missing out, that you miss out on the one thing that actually matters. I've had players tell me that they're worried about, not making their formal, or maybe, they were wanting a side job so they can afford to buy some sneakers that they really want to, or take their girlfriend out for like a date or something when they're 16, or maybe it's uni, the list is very long. I promise you, I haven't thought about my formal since the day that I had it about almost 10 years ago. As far as the side job goes, you making a couple bucks on the side to afford some sneakers is irrelevant. Not only are you not going to remember those sneakers, the money that you make at 16, 17, 18 is going to be lost as fast as you've gotten it. So you're not going to spend the money you make now on anything useful in the future. I can almost promise you, almost guarantee you that. And uni, well, stop allowing the opinions of others dictate your life. The bottom line is, so many people in general walk through their life wasting their time and wasting their focus on so many external factors. And when you're young and you have all these different pathways lined up in front of you and you have choices to be made, it's easy to get dizzy. It's easy to be unsure and question yourself and not be confident and allow your mind to play games on you. You only have control over your actions daily, and to not pick something, if you're picking football, to not pick it and give it truly 100%, I think is a crime, because you're never going to make it in the space if you don't actually give your 100%. And most players don't. That's the truth. The reality is that 95% of players don't, because they're doing the side job, they're doing the uni on the side or the diploma or whatever it is, and they're hedging their bet, and their focus is wrong. And it's even hard for me as an agent to try and work that into someone's head, that even if you do football for 7-8 years of your life, you still have 60 years left of your life, 50 years left. You're not running out of time. There's no rush into doing other things. And the reason it's hard to do that is because it has to come from oneself. Someone has to feel that way, and you have to just do it. You have to just go all in. And it's usually the players that are truly just happy doing football and nothing else that it just comes naturally from, because they don't want to study. They don't want to do anything else at that time. Things can change. People change. And that's the point of this video, is that while you want to do football, all you should be doing is football, nothing else. Because if you don't make it, you'll change and you'll focus on something else, and that's going to work out as well, because that's how you should move through life. You shouldn't be thinking about backups of a backup of a backup, because life is short, and you'll wake up and you'll be 50 one day and you will regret it. Or you'll be 25 one day and it'll feel like you were 16 yesterday. It's easier than you think. You just have to commit more. That's what I want to leave you with. Thanks for watching.